In this tutorial, I'll be talking about artillery pieces, specifically the howitzers, which lob HE shells at a very, very long range. For each nation, basically, they're all the same, so I'll just be going through the Germans. So, there's a heavy one. So the heavy one costs 900 MP at 30 CP, sports 150mm shell, and has a range of 250 and a reload time of 75. When it does fire though, it fires 6 shells at a time, and it's pretty much 6 shells in 30 seconds. So for the heavy howitzer, that pretty much makes it 17.5 seconds per shot, which is a pretty long time. For the smaller one here, we have the LEFH-18M for the Germans, 750 MP, massive 25 CP, and a 225 range. So a bit shorter range, 60 reload time, bit shorter, bit quicker reload time, but also a smaller shell, as you can see here. So it's just going to fire 6 in a row, hitting at random areas around the area you chose to fire, as you can see. So it's a pretty much casino play weapon, these guns. You just shoot and pray. Not much to it. Just got to choose your target very well. Also, some nations sport the mobile one. So some nations, like the British, don't have one. The USA does have the heavier version, so it does have the M12 motor carriage, whereas the Germans have the Hummel and the Westby. The Westby being the lighter version, which shoots the 105mm. So it's the same caliber, just a mobile version of these two. So whichever nation you are, they're pretty much all the same. The biggest mistake new players make when using artillery is buying the artillery in the first place. Secondly is they simply look at the area here. Let's say this is captured by the enemy, and they're too scared to send infantry up to have a look what's there in case they get lost, and they just simply fire on the flag, hoping it will hit. That's a total waste of artillery and ordnance. This is a 900 MP unit which needs to get its money back as quick as possible to make an impact. It's already cost you 900 MP, negating you options in the early game and middle game. Also, the ordnance of this shell, it shoots 6 at a time, and you only have 30. So basically, it's a total waste. It's worth a lot of money, so it has to kill a lot. Some players also just see a sandbag line with an MG there, or just one squad there, and they use the artillery. No, you don't want to use the artillery on that. You want a higher value target. So when using artillery to scout for these higher value targets like Pak-40s or rocket artillery, you can just send your infantry up. Just send one guy up, or send 2 guys up to an area to scout. You must scout when using artillery. That's what you have to do. And you have to make sure the unit you're hitting is worth it. I'd say it has to be worth more than one squad at least to shoot that area. This is an example of having a pretty ideal target to shoot with your artillery, because there is an expensive emplacement, the Pak-40, and a full infantry squad there, a blob there. So this is pretty much worth around 500 MP or so if you manage to kill most of it. And you can say that will kind of get back a lot, half of your cost of your arty piece. Not mentioning the fact though, the time you spent to bank it, which is lost time of other units doing damage. But it's a decent target to do. So if you do have an arty piece, if you see anything like this with emplacements and whole infantry squads, do so, attack it. But you can see here it's quite a random, the placements of those shots. By then, a normal player would have moved all his infantry away and it wouldn't have killed anything. But you see here that it does get a lucky shot on the Pak-40, and there it goes. So really, if you want to attack something, just make sure there's high value units before you shoot, because it is expensive and it takes a lot of time to reload. Just to put things in perspective, basically getting a heavy artillery piece for 900 MP, that's the cheaper one of the heavy kind. The Hummel costs 1,000, so you can get even more than this, but this is comparing to a 900 MP army. So this is pretty much 8 assault squads and plus a bit more that you can get if you don't buy the artillery. If I had a choice, putting up this way, this is a no-brainer. I'll definitely go this. The reason also is you get this earlier, so you don't have to save for that. So basically you have all these units to play earlier in the game and do a lot more damage throughout the game, where the Hummel, you have to wait for a long time to buy it. And secondly, once you buy it, you have to wait for it to eventually accumulate its points to come back. So it takes a while for the Hummel or any other artillery piece, heavy or light, to actually pay itself off. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like it. And especially now, because the arty pieces are 30 CP, the heavy ones are 30, that's pretty much 1/3 of your army. So this is what your army composition will be like, basically. In a 1v1 map with 3 flags, you only can buy 2 squads, a medium tank, and the artillery piece. And I'm not comfortable with that, definitely holding 3 flags and banking on this arty to actually do something, because every time it fires, he has to wait pretty much more than a minute for it to fire again. And at the time, they can the other enemy can pretty much have 2 versus 1 squad in a certain part of the map, and that's a big no-no in my opinion. This is the lighter artillery piece, so the 105mm shell. Basically, it doesn't do very much damage. As you can see here, I'm trying to take out this squad here. When you fire with any arty piece, it's basically a luck and pray. So it's not much skill in actually using it. And sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. And when you don't get lucky, it's really a wasted weapon, because this is going to cost you around 30 CP just to shoot and do nothing for a long time. It's really not worth it. And also the other kind, if you compare it with the other thing, the 105mm SPG guns, such as the Stir, the Sherman 105, the Cromwell 95mm, they can shoot a similar shell with pinpoint accuracy. And pretty much it is slower though. So that 105 arty, the stats are basically it can shoot in 13.3 seconds a shell, whereas the Stir or the 105mm here can shoot 28 seconds. So it's about double the speed, this thing here, and shooting barrages, but this is more pinpoint because you actually have time to shoot, where this one you have to shoot all at once, then wait for a 60-second reload. And this one, it pretty much you hit the target always. So that's another reason why there are other options that are much better than going this light artillery piece. So another thing why is why I condone it. Just to sum up, basically I think artillery is a complete waste of money in most games. Mainly because of the CP costs. It's 30 CP, which is about 1/3 of your army. Also, the size of the game, 3v3s and under, they won't do enough damage or have enough emplacements to kill, and there are much easier ways to kill emplacements than using artillery pieces such as the 105 or just tanks and infantry, because with this you're sacrificing the ability to really pressure the enemy at early game, mid game, where you could just spam or use infantry and tanks. Instead, you're saving for this artillery, which will take a long time to even make up for itself after you buy it. Also, for the fact is, if you buy this and the skill level between the players are the same and the players know how to attack, you basically won't be able to hold them if you save up for this, because he will have 8 assault squads plus a bit more to fight you with, and you will be saving for this. You really can't stop that. How can you stop 8 assault squads if you don't buy it yourself? So that's the main reason it's not worth it in these games. Possibly later, if they do release AS2 with 4v4s and 5v5s, I say it is situational then. So I would say one player in the team may be able to get arty just to take out some pesky Japanese mortars or some land mattresses or some really annoying rocket infantry or rocket unit. Otherwise, this thing costs too much CP now and really is a bad buy for new players, because they'll be learning the wrong way. That being said, newer players or players that can't attack, this may be a better unit initially to start killing units easily, but really, if you learn how to use the other units much better, you'll be a much better player, because this is a terrible buy and I would never buy it ever.